When the only constant in life is change, you need to be ready. This is the Man-Made Survival Show.
Hello everybody, my name is Jose from Man-Made Survival, and thank you so much for coming back to the channel and watching this video. I greatly appreciate it because this information is very, very important. And one of the things we're going to talk about today is how the medical system is collapsing. And also another thing we're going to talk about is how the government is preparing itself if the coronavirus wipes out our government. But before I go any further, I want to introduce to you the very first book I've written. It's Preppers Secrete Cache. And you can go to www.preppersecretecache.com, or you can click the link below and it'll take you onto the website. The book is free. So we have a very limited amount of copies that we're giving out for free. All we need the help with is the shipping. So get this book. Hopefully you like the information that's in it, and leave your review so other people can see it as well and be encouraged to order it. So I encourage you to order the book and give me your honest opinion. But what I want to do right now is give you the number for the coronavirus. For the entire world, we have passed the 500,000 threshold, which is 532,000 cases confirmed, and just in the past 24 hours that increased by almost by 100,000. The number of dead right now is 24,065. In the United States alone is 85,268 confirmed cases and 1,293 deaths. Right now, the United States is leading the world on the number of cases that we have, and maybe the fact that we're leading into it and the medical system is collapsing, it might cause the Trump administration to go ahead and close the country, like completely shut down, something like we saw in China, something like we've seen in Italy, something like we're seeing in other countries that are taking the same steps to make sure that the spread is controlled. So the first headline that I have in front of me is: the entire healthcare system in the U.S. is about to collapse. Doctors and nurses warn. This from Zero Hedge. Health professionals are increasingly sounding the alarm over the U.S. healthcare system, warning that the coronavirus outbreak could quickly overwhelm unprepared hospitals without swift action to provide equipment to nurses and doctors. This is a nationwide problem, even on the private side, an anonymous doctor told NBC News. Anonymous because he doesn't want to have any retaliation against him. He goes on to say, no clinic in this country, or hospital for that matter, is going to have enough equipment. Nearly all who responded said there were shortages of PPE in the hospitals and outpatient clinics and offices where they worked. The PPE is the personal protective equipment. That's the mask and the goggles and the apron and the whole thing that they have to wear in order for them not to be contaminated by the virus. Many reported being forced to ration or reuse supplies, including surgical and N95 masks, for fear of running out. Many also say that they were facing shortages of basic sanitary supplies, including hand sanitizer and disinfectant wipes. Here's a quote or a statement. We need to act now and act fast, Bonnie Castillo, National Nurse United Executive Director, said in a statement. Priority number one is to protect the health and safety of our nurses and healthcare workers so that they can continue to take care of patients and keep our community as healthy as possible throughout this pandemic. If our health facilities no longer stay as centers of healing and instead turn into disease vectors, many more people will needlessly suffer from this terrible disease. I don't feel like my hospital is failing us, said the nurse. It's the whole system that's failing us. All right, so as advanced and first world and best healthcare that this country has, compared to throughout the entire world, it's failing. because they did not anticipate for this to come along. Hopefully, they'll be more prepared in the future. And, if another disease comes along or something else comes along, the healthcare sector will be better prepared, especially on the federal level, because all of this could have been prevented if Donald Trump would have already had the entire country shut down, except for the essentials like grocery stores, pharmacies, the truck drivers that deliver those goods. And so I said, I'm sorry, I blanked out. In hospitals. All right, so let's start over. So the thing that should stay open would be the grocery stores, the pharmacies, the truck drivers that take those deliveries, and the hospitals. And that's it. Everything else should be closed. No McDonald's drive-thru open, Burger King or whatnot, because and a lot of people are seeing this as a holiday, and they're just taking it and going places. Like we saw, the students, they don't have to go to school anymore, so they just went to Florida and they party for a week. And now when they come back to their respective towns, they all have coronavirus. Or, some of them have tested positive for the virus. And they were the ones that were in Florida. So taking the steps to where nobody moves, nobody gets out, it's not something totalitarian. It's something necessary right now. And here's one of the things that is really concerning. Here's the headline. NYPD has over 200 coronavirus cases, thousands more out sick. This from WCBS880.radio.com. And it says, NYPD Commissioner Dermot Shea revealed Tuesday that 211 of those sickened are members of the force. Approximately 177 are uniformed officers and 34 are civilian members. Shea also said 2,774 are currently out sick, which accounts for 7.6% of the department's uniform workforce. That's a big number, because for one, New York is huge, and their police department is also a big department. I think they have over 50,000 police officers, so that's a big number. And 7% of those, it's something to be concerned about, because crime comes out, people go crazy. If there's a food riot, then with not having the officers to restore law and order, then things can be chaotic. But the government, they do have a plan on how they will control people if they needed to. Like I shared in another podcast, right? They have plans. Inside the U.S. military's plan to stop civilian disturbances amid coronavirus pandemic. Something they haven't done in 30 years. And that article was from concerneduspatriots.com. And it's not just them taking down or controlling civil disturbances, but also another plan that they have in place is what they would do if the coronavirus wipes out the government. Because we have seen that there's a couple congressmen that they do have the coronavirus, and more than likely they might pass it through other colleagues, and we know a lot of those colleagues are very old. But here's that headline. Exclusive. Inside the military's top secret plan if coronavirus cripples the government. This is from Newsweek.com. About top secret contingency plans already exist for what the military is supposed to do if all the constitutional successors are incapacitated. That would be if President Trump was to catch it, if he dies, then Pence would come along. If Pence got it, he died, then Pelosi would come along, and then so on and so forth, right? Standby orders were issued more than 3 weeks ago to ready these plans, not just to protect Washington, but also to prepare for the possibility of some form of martial law. All right. Another thing that I have to remind you about is that them bringing all this military and the National Guard is not just to help with the people that are in the hospitals, and for them to make more beds available and all that. It's also to control the people. So this has more than one application to it. It's not just helping people in the hospital who are sick and creating more hospitals, more beds. giving supplies, ventilators, and all that stuff. It's to control the people also. And one of the things that the reason why is because, as I've shared in other podcasts, is that people are starting to get angry because of the limits that they have on food and water and drinks and everything. And eventually, when those start running out, because I've also shared how the food the food supply is depleting. For one, weather. Two, other countries don't want to trade them anymore because they need the food in their countries, right? And then all the sanctions and everything. So that makes one big problem that eventually is going to hit the grocery shelves. And when that happens, the government already has they're already in place to take over those grocery stores and hand out, prepare to hand out already sorted out food to where you just drive up, get it, and that's your ration for the day or the week, whatever it is. But anyways, let me get back to this article. According to new documents and interviews with military experts, the various plans, codenamed Octagon, Freejack, and Zodiac, are the underground laws to ensure government continuity. They are so secret that under these extraordinary plans, devolution would circumvent the normal constitutional provision for government succession, and military commanders could be placed in control around America. Mission essential in this regard applies to the maze of more than a dozen different secret assignments, most of them falling under the three large contingency plans. Com Plan 3400, or the military's plan for homeland defense, if America itself is a battlefield. Plan 3500, defense support of civil authorities, where the military assists in an emergency short of armed attack on the nation. Plan 3600, military operations in the national capital region and continuation of government, under which the most secret plans to support continuity are nested. All of these plans are the responsibility of the U.S. Northern Command, or NORTHCOM, the Common Land Defense Military Authority created after 9/11. Air Force General O'Shaughnessy is NORTHCOM's Colorado Springs-based commander. All right, it's wonderful that the military has plans, to continue the government. Where it gets dicey, though, is will they ever give up the power, and then they will, establish the Constitution again, because they're sworn to protect it, right? But it can go either way, because we know that absolute power corrupts absolutely. So hopefully these plans, we know that there's patriots within the government, there's patriots within the army. I hope that the plan is, if something like that was to happen, is that they take over for a little while, all right, with always having the intention to go back to do things to the way when things are normal, when the Constitution is the main law throughout the land. So that's what I'm hoping it goes to. Hopefully it doesn't get bad enough to where they feel like they should have continued power throughout the United States. All right. But anyways, I hope all of this was useful to you, knowing what is already in place, knowing that even though they have not called it martial law, everything is in position just to spring right up. All right. It could be in minutes that they say suddenly, we're under martial law. And there's a lot of states that have already gone under martial law. They just haven't called that yet. But all the executive orders they have put in place is exactly the same thing. So it's no longer a conspiracy. It's there. All right. But anyways, I want to remind you about the book, Preppers Secrete Cache. You can go to www.preppersecretcache.com and you can order it on there. I remind you that this book is free. We only have certain limited amount of copies, so I encourage you to get it. And if you don't want to go to the website, then you can just click the link below and it'll take you right there. You just fill out your information and we'll send it to you right away. But anyways, again, my name is Jose Pro, Man Survival, and you got to remember to always be ready.
the Man-Made Survival Show.